Welcome to episode 7 of Heart Signal Season 4. Finally guys, Yisu is bringing some heat into this house. They think she's going to give Jimmy a run for her money. In this episode, the two people I'm most worried about are Jimin and Jae-ri. I'll get back to why I say that in a few, but first let's talk about the complicated all boys follow me situation of Ji-young. Ji-young and Hoo-shin were the first to wake up, and they decided to go for a morning walk together. During their walk, Ji-young touched Hoo-shin a couple of times, like when she pulled him closer to avoid a car and when she was laughing. Hoo-shin may have seen these gestures as signs that she's interested in him romantically. Hoo-shin seemed deep in thought and had a lot he wanted to express, but he held back. However, he did mention that he wishes everyone in the house could be more open-minded. They both agreed that it feels like everyone is closed off and only focused on the people they're attracted to. Looks like Hoo-shin wants to give Ji-young a try again. In the previous episode, he seemed to be giving up because Ji-young mentioned she had some interest in someone else, but now it seems like he's trying to show her that he's interested, so he tried to give her some signals and hints that he was into her during that talk, but she wasn't seeing it because she firmly believes that she knows whom Hoo-shin liked. Overall, Ji-young and Hoo-shin had a comfortable and enjoyable outing together, showing how at ease they feel in each other's company. I have to also point out that she said she thought she was always in control of her emotions, but it's been hard for her since she came into the house. Another date that Ji-young went on was with Jae-ri guys. I cannot help but notice something. Do you see that smile?
그렇네.
긍정적으로 알아들을게.
And this smile. Compared to this.
사이가 진짜 알고 비싼 건데.
단가 알아?
Ji-young isn't interested in Jae-ri, but Jae-ri is Mr. I love what I love and what I love is period, so I guess Jae-ri may be leaving this show as a single man if he keeps to his promise that he isn't backing down from Ji-young anymore. Yeah, he promised to fight for her, and the look of satisfaction on Ji-young's face when he said this was epic. It looked like she was saying, "Thank you for offering to fight a lost battle. I will gladly enjoy the attention." This was a very special and meaningful date, and I think Jimin would have responded differently if she was the one on this date with him. Jae-ri is a very detail-oriented guy, and I'm of the opinion that he plans really good dates. I'm happy for Ji-young getting all the guys to develop feelings for her. I feel bad for the other ladies though. It's like everyone who comes on these shows has the same ideal type. This episode so far is really hard to watch. What are these men doing? Jae-ri also talked about his dad. He spoke to his dad that day and he was told to be active if he finds someone that he likes and do something about it. The problem about this is this guy is only going after who he likes. What about considering the person who likes him? Then he asks, "Do you have anyone in the house that you like?" She nodded with a smile and said yes. Then she asks, "How about you?" This question was so unnecessary because he had already confessed his affection for her some episodes back. But he took it a step further, discussing her date with Mingyu. He talked about how he went crazy about them going out together and that was the first time he wondered what if he and his roommate Mingyu fell for the same person. Then she asks, "What if that happens, what will you do?" He responds, "There's really nothing I can do. But I wouldn't back down." This, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why I think Mingyu and Hoo-shin are the most reasonable men in this house. While Mingyu has had many hiccups, but I still see him as reasonable in regards to Ji-young. Mingyu was clearly stepping aside and staying away from Ji-young because of Jae-ri, and that's besides the fact that he was into Jimin. Wise people sometimes back down Jae-ri so they can think clearly and make a better judgment. The look of satisfaction on Ji-young's face was incredible. Jae-ri has officially become Ji-young's toy folks. Jae-ri says he's the type that likes holding hands, and Ji-young acted really cute saying she's the type that holds on tight, not letting go. Jae-ri wants to be that man in the end. This conversation between them about him wanting to live like her parents was really awkward, especially when she said living as normally as possible means real happiness. It sort of reminded me of the conversation they had in episode 2 where she said he wasn't being himself and she would prefer him to be his normal self. I think Jayori might be hanging on by a thread at this point. The more I watch, the more I see the detachment between these two. Only a miracle will make this situation change. They walked a bit and he gave her a gift in the car on their way home. Right now guys, all the men in the house want Ji-young. Isu invited Mingyu out on a date. First destination was for lunch. During this date, she told him that he was the closest to her ideal type. She said she really likes his face, that he looks like a vampire, and she said that's a compliment. Mingyu was literally blushing and smiling during this date. Here is a compilation of some back-to-back hits and scores that she gave him to make him blush.
I asked you out on a date because I'm most attracted to your looks. What was your first impression of me?
This girl's vibe is on another level.
You look like it'll be hard to approach you at first, and you had charisma, which is charming.
Do you like tall women? Tell me your ideal type. List them.
I like tall women.
Boom. My guy nailed it. That's how you do it, man.
The end?
I also like cheerful women.
Am I a cheerful person?
Yes.
Someone with a bright personality, that's it?
Yep, that's it.
There was a long and romantic gaze after this, y'all. I smell love in the air, guys. Isu the hurricane has come to finally shake Jimin off Mingyu's heart. After lunch, they headed to a gallery. While driving, she pulled some stunts, including a move often seen in dramas. My guy was flustered. This girl is a beast, y'all, and I mean that in a good way. She explained that she had lived in America for some time and started driving in high school there, which might explain her straightforward nature. The second destination, the gallery, was incredibly beautiful and could touch anyone's heart on a date. Mingyu is fortunate to have someone like Isu who can plan such special dates. She's a good catch. When I grow up, I'll plan to go on a date like this. Yep, I liked it that much, guys. Did you all see JM's friends at the cafe? The 35-years-old looked so good he could pass for a Signal House member. They discussed how JM's feelings for Jayori had grown after their date. However, JM tends to lack aggressiveness and is slow in making decisions. There was a time when Jayori almost gave up on Ji-young, especially when she was avoiding him, and JM could have taken a chance then. But she got distracted by Mingyu. I hope her indecisiveness won't put her in bad timing at the end. JM expressed hesitation about going on another date with Jayori because it might solidify her feelings. She wants to date Mingyu to confirm her feelings before making a decision. However, she also mentioned that Mingyu is so into Jimin, leaving her uncertain if he'll have any feelings left for her. Her friends advised her to invite Mingyu for a drink, as she will never know unless she tries dating him first. Mingyu and Isu spent the entire day together, including a visit to a bar. While drinking, Isu asked whom he's been most attracted to so far, and he told her Jimin. The girl needed to know so that she can tell what and whom she is up against. But you can feel their chemistry building. If my girl Jimin doesn't get it together soon, I might start shipping these two. I'm already losing my mind watching these two. I really wish this show had more people coming in, the more the merrier, right? The next day, Ji-young met Hoo-shin and Mingyu in the living room. Hoo-shin noticed Ji-young's interest in Mingyu as she tried to catch his attention. Later, Ji-young went to Mingyu's room to discuss why he had been avoiding her. He says he wasn't doing this intentionally. He repeated everything I mentioned in my last video here. Please check my recap for episode 6. He also needed to confirm Jimin's feelings, and I think that chapter is temporarily closed for him since Jimin didn't message him that night after he poured all his heart out to her on that date. If I was Mingyu, I will totally forget Jimin and fall hard for Isu and treat her with such care, love and romance that Jimin will regret missing out on my love. She asked him if that chapter is finally closed, and my guy was so sincere. He said it looks like Jimin's mind is made up, but for him, he wasn't sure. After their discussion, he promised not to avoid her anymore. And they became very playful with each other. During their conversation, Hoo-shin was so uncomfortable, he kept pacing back and forth at the door in jealousy. The The most intense love signal since this show started was when Ji-young started flirting with Mingyu in Hushin's presence. Don't hate on her for showing her feelings, guys. The girl is falling in love and Mingyu was beginning to see it happening. But I'm sorry guys, I wasn't feeling it. If you're a shipper of these two, please don't get mad at me, but I'm not feeling it and I do not want Ji-young for Mingyu. My apologies guys, that's just how I feel. I would rather Lee-soo at this point. And OML, did you all see this clip? Why did she feel the need to speak in that tone? I've never heard her talk like that before. Maybe she was too happy she resolved her issues with him. That's my only reasonable excuse, guys. She definitely wasn't trying to act cute like Jimin. Or was she? After meeting her friend, Ji-young shared the moment she fell for Mingyu, which happened at the record bar. Additionally, Ji-young discussed her perception that Jimin is more interested in Jae-ri. She doesn't think JM is interested in Mingyu. Did y'all notice Mingyu's attitude when he gave Jimin a ride? Mingyu was unresponsive to her usual cute and flirty behavior. My guy kept a straight face. Jimin mentioned buying him shoes as a gift during the next random dates, but I hope Ji-won picks her gift so we can see how those two will relate during a date. And I'm hoping Mingyu picks JM. Mingyu asked her who she'll like to date next and she responded, you. The look on Mingyu's face was like, is she alright? Someone please check our temperature, I don't think she's okay. He looked at her like, are you kidding me right now? Stop messing with my feelings, girl. That was the look, y'all. I'm giving you my unbiased interpretation here. He says he's beginning to feel comfortable around her, that there's no more tension. He thinks they both agrees they needed to go on a date to help increase the tension between them. Him saying he's feeling comfortable around her took her by surprise. She kept repeating the word comfortable to herself but later concluded that comfortable doesn't necessarily mean there is no attraction. When she said this, the look on Mingyu's face almost made me tear up because my girl keeps leading him on and because he likes her so much he allows her hurt his feelings again and again. He said at first, he thought he was supposed to focus on one person but now he feels like he needs to talk to different people. I like the way he expressed that to her. If she really likes him, this is the point where she will feel threatened that he's willing to follow others. She too added she's beginning to feel comfortable around him. Jimin is tripping, y'all. She's always looked comfortable around him. The only time I felt her tension was in episode 6, during their date. She expressed she felt unhappy when she learned Mingyu spent an entire day with Lee-soo the previous day. Then he asked her what kind of feeling is that. Finally, they all gathered together for a game night. Hushin's humor is unmatched in this house. There were a lot of funny moments when they played the fold of finger game. The first most serious question came from Jaewon. He asked them to fold a finger if they hadn't decided on the one yet. Everyone else except for Mingyu folded their fingers. This meant that he had made his decision and everyone was shook. I was confused as well. It seemed he decided on Ji-young as of that moment, but then the questions continued into truth or dare. I wonder why these guys only play truth. I wish they will sometimes play dare on one of these shows. Nothing too dramatic, but it could help strengthen their bond if they played it right.
Lee-soo, since you're new here, do you by any chance have anyone you're interested in?
Yes, I have someone I'm interested in. Jae-ri, is there a person you're most concerned about?
I don't think I have anyone in particular.
Is he for real? He's more transparent than anyone in that house.
Jimin, you sent your number 1 and 2 messages. Whom did you send your number 1 message to?
Quick reminder, guys. Number 1 question was whom you're most attracted to, while number 2 was who you see as a potential lover. JM and Ji-young prioritized number 2 as the most important questions, while the men prioritized number 1. Lee-soo had not arrived in the house when these messages were exchanged. Ji-won just nodded but wasn't surprised when Jimin said she chose him, but it looked like he was about to smile, but he refrained himself. Mingyu nodded continuously like he just discovered something very important, and Hushin too had a look. Jimin asked Ji-young if she had someone she'd like to go on a date with. Before she responded, The men looked nervous, but Mingyu's reaction wasn't nervous but out of curiosity. She answered yes and added, it's just one person. Besides Hu Xin, none of the other two guys knows who she's talking about, lol.
Hu Xin, whom do you want to have a date
I
with
have
next?
someone. Oh, you mean home? That was so specific. Okay, I'll drink instead.
Hu Xin asked Mingyu if his choice can still change since he's made up his mind. He said, that's a possibility. In my opinion, he may have changed his option to Ji Young, but there is still a chance for change if Jimin chooses him. Please keep in mind that I suspect his choice is Ji Young at this moment because he hasn't realized yet that all the men are interested in her.
호시는
As the night went on, Mingyu discovered that all the men were interested in Ji Young. He began to understand that dating Ji Young might be more challenging than he thought, especially after confirming Jairi's feelings. I think he started having a change of mind after this realization, guys. Mingyu and Ji Young both found out they were each other's number twos. When Isu heard this, she asked,
Mingyu, who do you choose as your number one right now amongst us, including me?
my guy drank instead, no need to answer that. The men gathered in one room and were shocked to discover that they all had feelings for the same person. Jaehyori expressed surprise at Ji Young's popularity and asked Hu Xin why he chose her as someone he wanted to date. Hu Xin replied that Ji Young was the most enjoyable person to be around, and he wanted a chance to have a proper date with her. The level of confusion and discomfort among the men was evident, as Jaehyori hadn't expected Ji Young to be this popular. Mingyu then asked a crucial question, if they all chose Ji Young as their number one. They all answered yes, and remember, to the men, question 1 was the most important. This is when I believe Mingyu's choice changed to Isu that night, because when it was time to message whom they liked that night, he chose Isu. I believe this realization will gear them into looking more at the other ladies. Who knows what can happen? Let's expect the unexpected. I think something magical will happen with G1 in the next episode. For their text messages that night, here is how they voted. The matching couple in this episode was Humin and Mingsu couple. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe. Hope to see you in the comments. Bye.